welcome back to terryscookbook.com. My name is Terry Searcy, and today I want to talk about rice. I'm sure we've all been eating a lot of that if you have that in the house and you kind of want things to do with it. So this is one of just something I'm kind of throwing together on my rice. So I have some rice. I found some orzo, which is a pasta. If you have maybe a little bit of spaghetti noodles or something that you want to break up, I have less than a quarter cup of that there that I'm going to use. I also have some chicken broth or bouillon, so I'm going to add that so I can make a little bit of a broth instead of adding plain water. I have some honey, some onion that I chopped up, about a quarter cup, some dates, some almonds. I also have some feta cheese to go with this, and some olive oil. It's about a quarter cup on the onion, the dates, the almonds, and about 3 tablespoons of the orzo. So if you have some spaghetti noodles that you want to use, and I'm gonna crumble in some feta cheese at the end. So this is what I have going. My rice, because it just depends on whatever rice you have, says to add boiling water. So I'm gonna let my broth start. So I did what the directions said, which was like 2 teaspoons for every cup of water. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna heat that up, so that'll be ready. And I'm gonna go ahead and turn my pan on, and I'm gonna take a little bit of olive oil that I have here. I'm gonna put that in my pan, and I'm gonna do kind of like the rice-a-roni thing where it tells you to add some butter or some oil and then brown the rice. And so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna brown my pasta and my rice. So I'm just kind of tossing that into the oil. And at the same time, because this is going to take a little bit of time, I'm going to do the onion. So I have the onion on one side of my pan, kind of browning a little bit, because the rice is going to take a little bit longer with the pasta. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let this crystallize and let the rice just brown ever so slightly. And I'll be tossing that around. Now, I went to a restaurant where I used to live, and they had a rice similar to this, and I really, really enjoyed it. So I dissected it while I was eating it, kind of figured out what it was. They had, instead of dates, they had raisins in it. So if you had, not that everybody's going to have currants because I don't have currants, but if you had currants, or maybe even if you want to put some cranberries in there, that might work. The almonds, these are just rough chopped almonds. You could probably use pecans if you have some pecans laying in there, but it's just going to be something different than what we've been eating, probably Spanish rice or white rice, or so this is kind of a different rendition of a rice pilaf, let's say. So I'm just going to toss this around in here. I'm still keeping my onions separate from my rice. And I don't want my rice to burn. I just want it, I'm coating it in the olive oil and just let it brown there. So I'm starting to see some of my rice brown, so I want to make sure that that definitely gets tossed. And when I had it at the restaurant, I had it with lamb. My mom at the time had it with chicken. So it does complement quite a few different dishes. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and combine it all together because my onions were already starting to turn translucent, and my rice and my orzo is now starting to brown. So the idea with this was, and it kind of came to me this morning when I was eating breakfast, like, oh yeah, I remember having that. My boys are getting a little bored with some of the stuff, and so I thought, oh, this is going to be good with our salmon. So I'm going to do some salmon tonight, and I thought this would be kind of a nice rice instead of a rice pilaf or steamed white rice that everybody keeps probably eating over and over again. All right, my liquid has almost come to a boil. And then cook it as your directions say. Now, if you're going to add some pasta to it, like 3 tablespoons, just add a little bit, like about a 1/4 cup more of your broth to it, so that way it will have some more to absorb. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to throw my almonds in there. And I'm stirring it constantly because I don't want my rice to burn. And I'm going to throw the dates in there. And it's just, like I said, about a 1/4 cup of each. If you have some dried parsley from maybe a recipe that you used a long time ago that you're probably never going to use again, or who knows when you're going to make that recipe again. When I'm done with this, I'm going to just sprinkle a little bit of dried parsley, because I have some of that, because that'll give it a nice color presentation. Okay, my liquid is now boiling, so I'm going to go ahead, add my liquid, bring my rice to a simmer. Cook it as directed. So my husband's mouthing to me what kind of rice I'm using. I'm using jasmine. If you're using whatever rice you're using, cook it to what it recommends. I'll stir that one more time. All right, we will be back and I will show you what I'm going to do with the honey and the feta cheese when this is all done. We'll be back. Hi and welcome back. I wanted to let you know that my rice is done, so we're going to take a look at this here. All right, so this is what my rice looks like. So it is pretty nice and fluffy. And at this time, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to toss in some of my feta cheese. You don't have to add cheese. I just had it, and they had it at the restaurant when I had it. And there's my dried parsley that I had, just to get some color in there. Maybe I'll need to add a little bit more parsley. All right, so this is my take on that rice that I had at this restaurant one time. Now about the honey. So they offered honey on the side. So if you're having something that you go, maybe a little bit of honey, you want a little bit of sweet and savory, you can go ahead and drizzle a little bit of honey to it. It warms up really well, and it goes really nice with Mediterranean type food, seafood. Like I said, my mom had it with, we had chicken and rice that evening, or chicken and rice. We had chicken and we had lamb, and it went fabulous. So again, try to look around what you have in the kitchen and throw it in some rice and see what it'll go with. Thank you for joining me again in another series of terryscookbook.com. Stay safe, stay healthy.